Back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Lunch and Learn, where I am here to explore topics to help you elevate your mindset, be at your best, and radically expand your life and business. And today, I want to share with you a little bit about lessons learned from hosting my book launch party. Now, wearing this outfit because I didn't get to wear it at my book launch party, but I wanted to wear it here today on this very, very special occasion. I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. And we did have some technical difficulties streaming to Facebook. We've got some new challenges going on, but we are working on it. So what I want to do is really share some of the best that was uncovered by hosting this party, and also some lessons learned, because I used to host parties all the time. And it's been nearly 10 years since I've hosted any kind of major event other than my son's birthday parties, which he is very fond of. Okay. But if you have any events coming up, or if you plan to run an event at some point in the future, I really hope this is helpful for you, because it might help you reduce the learning curve and hold on to and allow you to hold an even more purposeful and valuable and successful event. So you can just show up with ease, with joy, and with flow. And if you just want to learn more about what our event was and how it went down, then this is where you're going to do that. So I know some of you know me, some of you don't. If you are new, I am Larisa, author of Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away, Discover the Secrets to More Time, Money, and Freedom. And I'm also a master results coach and CEO of Abundance Academy, where we work with professional women whose external results tell the world they're successful, but on the inside, they know they are destined for more. So I help them stop holding themselves back and go after their dreams so they can radically expand their lives and their businesses. So I'd love to know where you're coming in from. And if you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat. Okay. So my team and I, we can welcome you and thank you. Thank you for being here. I truly do appreciate you and your presence. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Computer is doing strange things. So let's dive into events, and let's dive into this particular event. So I want you to think about the last event you hosted. Was it just easy peasy, or did you spend days or weeks in advance just sweating buckets, hoping everything would work out? You were craving to hear the sounds of laughter and just beautiful conversations, and you wanted to see people have a great time. And there were so many little things that got in the way. Well, one of the things I've learned about events is logistics are a huge part of the process. But when you think about certain things in advance, they make the evening, they make the afternoon, whatever event it is that you're hosting, turn out so much smoother than it could have been. And that's really what today is about. You hosting an event where you and the participants walk away feeling inspired and fulfilled. And ultimately, at the end of the day, truly satisfied. So I remember, like I said, I grew up hosting events. Initially, it was like potlucks and dinners and parties for my mom. And when we were younger, we would throw surprise parties all the time. And it was such a big part of our upbringing. It was so incredibly exciting. As I grew up, we started getting involved in many charitable and nonprofit organizations. So fundraising events and galas became the norm. And because I had so much practice, I could literally put events together very, very quickly and with so much ease. However, when I started stepping away from boards, I had my son, left my corporate position, and I was home. Then COVID happened. There wasn't really a lot of need to go out and start putting on events. We started doing live virtual events, which were phenomenal. However, the whole live event space and those dynamics, they really started to shift. And so this event in particular, I feel like I had a lot of ups and downs and all kinds of emotions flowing through me that I was not expecting. In the end, it was amazing. However, some of the things that really surprised me and were really challenging, I had not anticipated. So first and foremost, what's so important with any event that you're hosting, whether live or virtual, is that you consider your intention. Intention is everything. And you want to know what your intention is as the person putting on the event. Like, what do you actually want to get out of it? And then you want to think about, what intention do you have for the guests or the participants? What do you want them to get out of it? How do you want them to walk away from this event? So for us, when we were celebrating this book launch, obviously it was, okay, we've got this book. Let's celebrate the completion of this book. Also, it was about the event getting more eyes on our book, getting more eyes on our business, whether or not people were able to come out. Just talking about these things on social media gets people's interest and attention. And there's something exciting when new things are happening, whether or not people are actively there. Posting things like photos and sharing tidbits and behind the scenes footage, or even we did an Ask the Author segment. We're going to share that on social media. That allows people to get involved from a distance. And so we wanted ourselves to get more exposure on multiple different levels and get the book out, obviously. And then we also wanted participants to be excited about the book. We wanted them to be excited about connecting with one another. We knew that at this event, there would be some that are like, oh, networking events, awesome, public venues, I am gold. I'm great walking into a room full of strangers and having conversations. And then there was others that despise networking events, don't like talking to strangers. They would rather crawl under a rock, and we wanted everyone to feel comfortable and uplifted. So that was our big intention. So even in some of the activities and the structure of the evening, the layout of the evening, everything that we considered, we kept those two things in mind. So how can we achieve our objectives? Next, setting a budget and arranging the logistics. This is a massive part and undertaking. Now, for me, logistics have always been fairly easy and straightforward. It's fun, it's exciting, lots of dopamine hits, finding a venue, arranging food, setting a program and schedule. Those kinds of things are phenomenal. I often do things all by myself, and this time I had some help planning the event, which is amazing. And it was a little bit intimidating because I'm used to having to just do it all. And one of the things I love doing, and I'm practicing myself as a leader, is asking for people to help. And so because I wasn't in charge of the whole event all by myself, and I had other people that were looking into things for me, the first thing they asked me was, Larisa, what's your budget? And I did not know that would be so scary and so intimidating for me to answer, because a budget is just a set of numbers. It's not a big deal. However, for me, I didn't have a number in mind. I didn't have a budget in mind. I didn't have that thought out. I always know things work out, and they always have. However, determining that in advance really threw me for a loop. I didn't actually have a frame of reference because I hadn't done anything like this in so long. So as I kept talking, the planning went on, and a budget was created as we went along. Couldn't have one as we went along, but I will have one for the next time, because now I know what to expect. And two of my advisors, they actually said, okay, Larisa, I want you to cover the cost of the event through income generated as a result of this event. And that wasn't even something I'd even considered. I just assumed we were going to throw a party. Okay, so that was a really important consideration. So where is the money going to come from to pay for the event? In the end, we did not end up on budget, and I did put out several $1,000s for the event. However, for me in this case, I didn't want to have extra sponsors and extra clutter in this evening, and I didn't want any other distractions from this event. So the only revenue that was generated was from book sales. And in the grand scheme of things, book sales are not a massive revenue generator. You're not going to get rich from selling books. There's a lot of other ways you can do that, not from selling books. That's a different topic of discussion. However, when it came to setting the location, we got a little bit of a late start. We were looking at it, and then I had projects on the go. The assistant that we were having help with this event, she had to go out of town. And so we got a little bit of a late start setting the event space. And we started looking at Peerspace. We even checked out Set Scouter. We found some amazing places and really neat venues. However, for the amount of people we wanted to have, a lot of essentially the objective of our event, a lot of the layouts were not suitable. It was so frustrating because they were just not suitable for that vibe. Now, we did find a couple of locations, one that was amazing, and we went back and forth with them. We tried securing it. We tried putting a deposit down, and they did not get back to us. They actually let our listing expire, and then we reached out to them again, and we had actually had to go out and find another location in the meantime. By the time they're like, "Would you like us to send a contract?" So leave plenty of time to set your event space, and just make sure that it is suitable so you can check it out. What we really loved about the event space, we did find it was something that somebody randomly messaged me through LinkedIn. So important to have connections that make recommendations. It was near the subway. It had parking close by. It was in the Toronto area, right? There's a lot of places out in the GTA. However, I live in Toronto. Our business is in Toronto. I think there's something exciting about an urban feel. So we wanted to have it in Toronto proper. And there's also this particular location had just a really great layout that was conducive to good conversation. It was intimate, and it was exactly what we needed. And they also got back to us and were super, super friendly. We ended up doing it at the Village Hive in Eglinton. We found out they hadn't even advertised the space. The paint was like so fresh. They held their launch party the day before we checked out the event. Now, while we love the event space that we ended up having, prior to, I thought I was having another event space. So I went out and bought this outfit that matched and totally fit this other event space. I hope you like it. I'll wear it again somewhere else, probably in a photo shoot. And I couldn't wear it there because it just did not fit the scene. It did not fit the decor. It wasn't the right and appropriate outfit for that event. So because we had to change our location last minute, I ended up changing my outfit. I wanted to get a new outfit. I had a perfect one picked out. Again, not able to ship until the end of June or until the end of May or June, which was after our book launch. So I decided to recycle an outfit, which was very difficult for me to do. And it worked out really well because it just fit the entire environment. We got our decorations set up. The location, while it was amazing, it wasn't in our color palette at all. It had a lot of yellow and green. And so we got some balloon bouquets, and they were balloon bouquets in the color palette of the book. We also got some tablecloths to put at the food stations, which were really important. And there were some live plants already there, so that was really nice. We firmed up the catering. And one of the things we wanted to make sure to do was have food at 2 separate stations so that people could access it in different parts of the room. They didn't just have to congregate in one area because it was a fairly large facility. Now, we knew that we wanted food, obviously, because we called the event for 6:15 on a weekday, and people would probably be coming from work. So some people might have eaten dinner, but most people probably wouldn't have. But we didn't want to have a sit-down formal dinner. We thought that was too much for something like this. So we wanted there to be networking and interaction with people. So we chose hors d'oeuvres, and we had a mixture of things that were colorful and friendly and super tasty, and then other things that were a little more fancy. And so things that would be both filling and nutritious, and also just appropriate to eat, like finger food. So one of the things we totally overlooked is having plates available. So we had napkins, but people weren't eating in the beginning. So we actually had to send one of the servers from the caterer across the street to go buy some plates. And that was a little oversight. So we will definitely have plates on our checklist afterwards. And we'll just make sure to double check with the caterer before that. We had a bar with wine, beer. Make sure you have more white wine than red if it's the summertime or if it's a warm venue. Warm weather. And we also realized that having 24 cases of beer is not necessary for an event full of women. If you have 6 packs, that's probably sufficient because we only had 4 beers go. So you don't need 24 packs. Go with 6 or 12 packs at a time. It's probably sufficient for a primarily women's event. And we also had sparkling water, some juice, flat water, and we made a really fancy for me, a non-alcoholic cocktail with rose water and lime. And it's just fancy because it gives you a little extra zing, and it's more fun to drink than just flat water if you're in the mood. Because it was this kind of venue and we wanted to do a toast at the event, we also rented wine glasses and also just regular glasses for water and non-alcoholic beverages. So that's a lot of the considerations that, like, these are all things that we did and considered after we had set the location. So there's a lot of moving parts to organize before any event. And I think we did a really great job. The one overall big thing that I would love to do differently next time is secure the location in advance. So 90% of this stuff can just happen so much faster and so much smoother. It ended up working out. We were just on a bit of a time crunch. Setup went smoothly and it was pretty great. We had an amazing crew that set up. However, there was a Blue Jays baseball game happening that day. And so people were running late and stuck in traffic. So we had people arriving at different times. And because I had to finish something at home, I didn't arrive until I think it was just about an hour before the event. I had intended to get there about an hour and a half before. And so I had intended to do an awesome team kickoff meeting right at 5 o'clock. And that didn't happen. So everyone just jumped in. They were amazing. But because I didn't introduce people to one another and say, you are responsible for this, you are responsible for this, some people didn't know who was doing what. So really important to have a team meeting. We did have a meeting with the planning committee virtually. However, there were other people that were involved in setup that weren't at that meeting that we held earlier in the week. And so we ended up hiring a lovely lady from TaskRabbit, Santa. And she was in charge of letting people in the building and helping with setup and helping with teardown and just basically helping with anything else we needed that night. However, Jessica, our community manager, she didn't even know we hired her until she got there because we forgot to tell her. And then my husband, who was also in charge of setting a lot of things up, didn't even know who she was. He thought she was just this really friendly girl, which she was, but he didn't know who she was and that we had hired her until the evening was over. So he was in charge of getting the AV equipment together because the facility didn't have it and he could have used a little extra help, but he didn't know it was okay to ask her. So things like communication are really key. And what I think is helpful is if we have some checklists, I'm going to put some templates together for the next time we do an event like this so that we can just plug in the boxes and print out the sheets and have a timeline and all of this stuff organized well in advance. So it's something I used to do. It's something that totally slipped my mind and would be so incredibly helpful. We had amazing people at this event. Most of them confirmed in advance. We had a few last minute cancellations and due to traffic. However, we did expect people. When you run an event, you have to expect a certain drop-off rate because inevitably something will come up. Someone's dog will eat their homework. Someone's babysitter will just conveniently not show up. Someone's homework or someone's husband will be home late from work and they'll have to take care of the kids, or they'll just get stuck in too much traffic. Whatever it is, things happen and you have to anticipate that. So we actually had more invited and expected to arrive than we had thought there would be, right? For the size and the venue. However, there were more that didn't show up than we anticipated. And so one of the things that we're going to do a better job of next time is not just sending a couple of emails with advance notice, but we're actually going to make sure to private message and direct message people and get a confirmation to make sure that they know that the event is happening on that day. If they have any help that they need, we can help arrange that. And often them having that advanced warning in their mind can help them come up with solutions to overcome last minute problems that they can't get out of. So the program itself was really well put together and super meaningful. We've had great comments and feedback from it. We had 2 community members greet people as they arrived at the door. And they took attendance, and we also had them get members a networking game. We actually had let me see if I have a copy of it. It was pretty cool. So this is that's actually completed. So we had a little brochure and we had a business networking game. It's kind of like a bingo networking game where they looked for people with certain criteria. We actually had a version 1 and a version 2, so it wouldn't be the same questions for everyone. But they would have to look for people that own their own business. They've known Larisa for less than a month or known me for 10 years or more, has the same shoe size as them, live outside the GTA, work in an industry unrelated to their studies. So we had some really fun, amazing questions that Jessica and I put together. And this got people engaging. And when people started coming, they went all out. They had so much fun. They got to enter their name to win a prize for each line that they got, for the outer border, for the whole card. And there were some people that went right in. They're like, I'm getting my card. And there was others that just took their time. But what it did do is it got people talking to different people. And that was one of our big desires, is to get people interacting and having fun. And so we got a lot of really great feedback that they loved it. We gave away we actually gave away 3 success journals as a prize for the game, for winning the game. And so we pulled the draws out, and that was a big hit. Now, during the program, one of my advisors, my accountability advisor, James Burgess, he emceed the event, and I thought he'd be okay, because I'm like, James, you dress up, you're professional, you're willing to just go all out and say things. But he exceeded my expectations. Like, he totally blew me away. He was so prepared. He was charismatic. He was enthusiastic. I usually see him on Fridays on Zoom. I have never seen him speak live, and I am truly, truly grateful for his presence at the event, because he really allowed the whole program to move and to flow. So thank you, James, if you are watching this now or at any point in the future. But James was truly phenomenal. And one of the things I wanted with the MC is someone that could capture the room, somebody that actually knew me and had a history, and also someone that can be very appropriate for the event and well-dressed. And I think he nailed all of those things. Now, my friend Stephanie, she led a song called I Am Blessed. It's a song I love, love, love. And I often share on our morning calls, or sometimes I just listen to it roaming around my house. But it really enhances and encourages us to think about the blessings in our lives. And so she sang it, and we got the audience involved. Our community manager, Jessica, she said a few words, and she also surprised me with an amazing video that she had put together. She had clients actually say a few words, and she edited it. So what we're going to do is we'll make sure that we distribute that video so you guys can see what she shared at the event, because it was so special. I was like almost in tears, but I was trying not to let my makeup run. I also spoke, and I had a presentation. We had an Ask the Author segment with my son. So we also put together these little ballots at the beginning. So some of the participants, everyone got an Ask the Author ballot, where they got to ask me a question about the book or the writing process or anything related to this particular event. And so we answered a few of the questions on the spot, and then we're going to answer more on social media. But my son, who was so cute, by the way, he's 6.5. He did the Vanna White, pull out the draw card, and he read the cards. And it was so much fun having him a part of this event. And so he got to read the questions. I answered them. And that was, I think, our first live official speaking engagement. I've done a lot of talks with him on Instagram. You put up that camera, that little boy knows how to work an Instagram camera or an Instagram reel. He's a lot of fun. We pitch and catch, but this was our first opportunity to actually speak live together. So that was incredibly special. After that, Kuntal, who helped organize the event, and she's a former client, she is an amazing event curator with impeccable taste. She made a toast to me, and then I went off and signed books. So the program went a little longer than expected, and that is something to watch for next time. Perhaps we will learn how to be on time. We'll see. However, for me, it was more important that people have a holistic experience, and we will definitely work on that. It's a work in progress. It's just not at the top of the list. We hired an amazing event photographer and videographer. We actually were looking at a couple different people, and someone that we have several people in mind for future events. However, this venue, just because of the layout, we didn't want too much complicated stuff. So we decided not to go with a separate videographer. We decided not to go with a whole big photo booth. There just wasn't a lot of space, and we wanted people to stay focused on connecting with each other and just having a good time. There wasn't enough time and physical space for more things to happen. So we went with a photographer that I've used in the past. He actually shot my keynote. So he did the photo and videos for my keynote that I did back in February. And I feel like I've known him for several years, and we informally connected, but he's been amazing to work with. So we'll definitely be using him in the future again. And the other thing that was really important to me about this event was including my 6.5-year-old son. Now, he's an amazing little child. He's got his own mind, definitely a mind of his own, as I think all children do. But we wanted to make sure he was involved in this event. We didn't want to say, oh, we'll get you a sitter, we'll send you somewhere else. We wanted him there so he could actually see what is happening. And we asked him how he wanted to be involved. We told him what some of the things were that he could do, and some of the things that were required. And he's like, I want to sell books. So that was what he did. So he and my husband, because he needed a little assistance, he was the bookseller. My husband assisted him. They did the sales of the books, and he was so excited and motivated. Learning opportunity is we didn't think of reminding him that it was a fancy event and he'd have to wear fancy clothes. So this is a simple thing, but this is the kind of thing that I think stresses a lot of people out, especially with weddings and big events, if you're not used to putting them on. For me, I was okay, but I needed a few extra breaths. However, he wanted to wear sweatpants, and we told him he had to wear fancy clothes that morning. We should have told him and started telling him that a month in advance, or at least a week in advance. However, he wasn't impressed that morning. At the event, he got dressed very resistantly, and he actually hid for the first little part of the event. Just to get him in the room, we had to give him an iPad so he wouldn't be disruptive. And I had to carry him into the room, and then we're like, okay, let's do the iPad. So we did give him an iPad as a last resort. Always good to have an iPad when you need children to be appropriate and they're not willing to, and it's crunch time. However, that is something I would definitely like to strategize against a little bit better. So at the sales table, it was awesome. We've never done a point of purchase, but we got one of those little square card readers. It was super easy to set up. It's probably one of the easiest technical things I've ever actually done. So a plug for Square. Me and tech is not my happy zone. It was good. So I highly recommend it if you do need to use it. It was not very expensive to set up, and the website is very user-friendly. And one more funny thing is people kept saying, Larisa, your hand's going to get sore. Is your hand sore? And I'm like, no, because they thought it would get sore signing books. But I like to write a lot. I can write for like 5 days in a row and fill up notepad upon notepad. So my hand did not get sore. I thought the writing part was easy peasy, and it was pretty natural for me. So because the program, we're just about done. I've got a couple more little points. Because the program did run a little bit late, a few people had to leave early, and they messaged me and they're like, I had to leave early, want to purchase copies of the book. How can I get that? So Amazon store is not set up yet. And we also wanted to be able to get them signed copies. So my team and we put together actual page where you can purchase copies, only available in Canada at this point. However, you can purchase signed copies of the book until Sunday or while quantities last. So we've still got some in stock, but people have been purchasing all week long since the event. And so what we'll do is we'll make sure to put the link to in the thread below, or if you want a book, just say, send me a book, and then we'll make sure to get the link to you if you want to purchase books that are signed at event prices. So this is less expensive than on Amazon. And we did send out a couple of emails, but I do think, so making people that intended to buy the book, we had to also send them messages, and they're like, yes, thank you, because not everyone is checking emails. So I think if you are doing an event, having a texting service or actually manually connecting with people, it does take more time, but you get better results, and people appreciate the actual human connection. So cleanup was super quick and easy. For me, it's one of the funnest parts of any event and any night. Post-event logistics could have been tightened up with some of our emails. And obviously we didn't think we would have to do this book sequence, but Amazon had other plans for us. The gods of Amazon meant for us to do this week. So those kinds of logistics could have been dealt with in advance. One of the things that we did do, and we are doing right now, is we send some event evaluation questions to all the key players that are involved in any event. And we ask them for what went well, what they can see as an area of improvement, and what they would suggest for the next time. And this is considering the overall event as well as their particular role in the event. And I think the whole evaluation process is so important, because if you don't take the time to evaluate your event, you're not going to know what happened, what the successes were, and what needs to improve. So what we do is we take all the feedback, we put it into one big report. I have a template that I've used for virtual events. So we're adapting it, obviously, to this live event. And we're going to make sure to read it and put the steps in place and build out the templates for the next time we run an event. And so that's something that's going to happen this week. We've started it. We're just waiting for a little bit more feedback, and we want to really design it. So that'll happen by Friday. But overall, I think the event was a big hit. Next time, I want to spend more time connecting with the guests and just really soaking the event in. I soaked it in a little bit. I'm like, it went by so fast, like in the blink of an eye. So I was thinking about all the moving parts. I will definitely surrender more and more in the future. I love being a part of events. It is just something in my blood. So I am working on handing over the reins, but I can't wait for the next events. We may be hosting a couple of smaller book launches in Saskatoon and Edmonton this summer, as well as we have Glam Day happening this fall. So stay tuned for more information on that. And if you're interested in attending like an actual live event, so it's not just going to be a party, it's actually going to be like a full day event. It might be 2 days. So we'll keep you posted, but it's happening this fall. If that's something you're interested in, just let us know in the chat below or reach out to our team so we could put you on the wait list, and you will be first to be notified before spots fill up. So this will be a paid event, and it'll be super reasonable and a great opportunity for you to connect with others as well as elevate yourself. Now, that's it for me. If you guys have any questions, write more books and make those parties your new normal. Yes. How much do I charge? Sorry, I just noticed these questions here. I found my chat. So this book launch event, we didn't charge for anyone to attend. So we just covered the cost of it, and we invited guests. It was not by public invite. If it was a public event, we may have charged like a ticket or admission fee, but these were people in our community. And so we didn't actually charge others for the event. However, for Glam Day, there will be a charge just because there's going to be expenses, and that one will need to cover its costs. Okay. That one's not a comp on us. Okay. So if you are interested, let us know. We haven't worked out any of those details. And if you are in Canada and want a signed copy of my book, this Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away, Discover the Secrets to More Time, Money, and Freedom, comment book in the chat below, and we will make sure to let you know how you can get that ordered. The special rates are going to be available until Sunday only, and that way then we'll change something after that point. Okay. And if free digital downloads are your jam, we have those available too. So if you want the free download, type in free download. If you want the physical book, type in book in the chat. So thank you guys for joining me. If you guys have any other questions or any other things that come up as a result of this, I hope this has been helpful. And I hope these are some things that you can consider next time you are hosting an event, because I love events. Like capital LOVE, love hosting events, putting them on. And there's just something about the energy of having a human experience with other humans. And there's something special that happens. There's a vibe, there's new ideas. The more you step into these, I'm going to say peak experiences, then the more rich and fulfilling your life truly can become. And when you are hosting events and you create them as opportunities for magic moments, for people to have these magic moments, that's a truly special thing. So thank you for joining me today. I will be back again next week, probably in a different outfit. This is not the best virtual outfit. Looks like I'm not wearing much, but I promise you it's very, very cute. I'll give you one final sneak peek. Again, you can't really see it, but I think it's adorable. So stay tuned for more pictures in this outfit and some exciting topics coming up in